The Karen Show. The Karen Show. The Karen Show. Let's go. Let's go. The Karen Show.
Hey, everybody. Enzo's here with me as per usual. And my wonderful friend, Lewis from the Nerd Report. Most of you, I hope, are already familiar with Lewis. Fingers crossed, because I followed Lewis for a long time. Before I was ever on the YouTube myself, I've watched Lewis. Do you still have your other channel sometimes, Lewis, the oh God, the fridge, you know, the one about where are we? Yeah.
I haven't updated in a while, but I've been wanting to. It's in the back of my mind to start to do more movie stuff as like the true crime and politics just gets everyone depressed. Might as well go to movies, right? Depress people through movies instead of politics.
Yeah. I just, that's why I thought today, look, I was actually watching an old vampire movie the other week, and it reminded me of times gone by when humor was very different and the approach on things was very different. And I just thought, we'll have a bit of fun today and talk about some of the old vampire movies and anyone who's got any questions. Because the other thing that you may not know about Lewis too is he knows a lot about movies. Like that's really more your thing, isn't it? Would you say, Lewis?
It depends. It depends. I mean, there are some stuff I don't know about. Like, I'm not an encyclopedia of film. No.
No.
I guess like the topics I bring up, like the films I do bring up, I do know about them because I bring them up and I'm passionate about it. But there's a lot of aspect of film that's very complex and historical that, like, people, no matter how much you may think I know or someone else knows, there's always someone that knows way more. Like film is like history, you know.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Culture. Well, there's a lot of aspects to it.
Well, Enzo and I, before you popped in, before we went live, Enzo and I usually have about a chat, half-hour chat before I go live, catch up with world events and what's annoying me. But we were talking about some movies now, older movies, Crocodile Dundee, Life of Brian. I don't know how many others. The culture that I'm not a fan of, the woke people are going in saying, "Oh, you can't keep that scene in the movie. That's got to be cut. Cut that out. You can't say that." And I'm thinking, what are you messing with history for? It's a movie that was made in the time that was okay. No one's getting hurt. It's not like anything. It's just, if you don't agree with the subject matter, don't watch it. But it's historical. So I don't know. How do you feel about that, Lewis? People going in and changing, like cutting pieces out of movies just because they don't like what was said. I don't like it.
Well, you know, there's a good example of that. It's kind of like not what someone said, but Steven Spielberg actually did a special edition ET where he cut the guns out of the FBI agents' hands and put walkie-talkies, and it just didn't work. It was he digitally replaced them. I don't know if you're familiar with that, and so it kind of takes away the intensity of what Elliot and his brother and his sister were going through. You know, because it was really that movie. The whole point was like kids versus adults, right? Like when you put the threat was there. That's what made that movie great. The threat of the Secret Service or whatever you want to call it was there against these kids on DMX bikes. So somewhere around the line, like Spielberg decided that guns are bad to have in a movie with kids, which is in a way he's right, but it's all context, And so what he did do that was cool is he did have a special edition where like it was updated with VFX and those walkie-talkies, but he also gave the fans an option to have the original version of it where like there were actually the guns were still there. Like we did see it in the 80s. As far as going back and switching stuff, it's been going on for a very long time. I think you have to have bad guys in movies, and if you make them mild, like you don't make the bad guys really bad. You make them so like they don't offend anyone. You end up like having
there's no real threat then. Yeah,
correct. And there is something I do believe in, that your films are only as bad as your villain. And if your villain is kind of, he's not really a bad guy, he's mild, he's just mean, then
And we've certainly seen that in some of the recent spate of like the Marvel movies where the bad guy is kind of the misunderstood villain. Well, there's a good reason that they're doing these, awful things or whatever, where you start to sympathize with the villain a little bit, which, I mean,
It's not
that's
healthy.
like every once in a while, that's kind of okay. We can sort of do a heel turn kind of a thing with your villain where they kind of turn into a good guy. But that's not what they're doing. They're just making it so that they're only sort of bad. They're not really bad. Kind
I
of.
think you're talking about like Loki and stuff like that. Who's like,
right.
I stopped watching Marvel. Like, I can't stand it. Like, there's just I don't get. There's just too much stuff going on.
Right.
I lost track, and I don't really like it.
I was going to say to the movie segment, but since we're right on it, I was going to ask you at some point. Do you feel like a lot of people seem to feel like because Superman's going to be coming out here pretty soon, the Fantastic Four coming out? The popular opinion seems to be if those films don't do very well, that's going to be the end of the superhero movies for a while.
Well, I mean, I'm a big Superman fan. I'm hoping the movie's good, but I don't know. I don't have faith in it. I think that it's they've tried so many times to do it, and they've also done the Fantastic Four like 4 times.
Yeah, that's the toughest one to do, though, because it's the most cartoony comic book style comic to do, because everything is so cosmic and weird in the Fantastic Four. That
I have friends that love Fantastic Four, but I mean, even to go back into the topic, Karen, that they canceled Blade. It seems like Disney was planning to reboot Blade. And I'm going to put in there that Blade is one of my favorite vampire movies because it's, if you look at that movie, and I think it's on your email. One thing that I think ruined vampires is the romance. I don't remember that as a kid. I guess vampires are sexy to women. I don't know, but
it's kind of always been there, though. The old Dracula stories.
I didn't notice it as a kid, and it got annoying. There's nothing sexy about getting the blood sucked out of your friggin' brain, I don't think like sex and blood is hot.
It's not something.
It's not. It's kind of cringe. So one thing I did like about the Blade films is that the vampires were just bad, and
really bad.
They were
really.
Right, and Blade didn't have at least the first film. There was no romance. Watch that film. The only thing they kind of hinted at, but it wasn't really that much of a hint, was him and his mom.
Yeah, like the relationship between like and the thing I liked about Blade too. Well, back when that was a thing too, I was doing martial arts, right? That I stuffed up all my knees, both my knees. But I was watching because he was awesome in that. Like he did, from my understanding, I could be wrong, but he did all of his own stunts in that regard, like the work he was doing, and I like him. And I was sort of excited to hear that it might be coming back. So do you know why they decided not to bring Blade back? What happened?
Well, apparently they did a huge announcement at Comic-Con, which is a big nerd convention here in San Diego. Yeah. It's like, so they announced that Mahershala Ali, I think, sorry if I mispronounced his name, who's a good actor, was going to play him. He's got a good look too. And then they announced that like 5 years ago, and it just didn't come through. And then they had the movie where they had Deadpool, and actually Blade, the actor Wesley Snipes, did come back and did a cameo, and he still looks good. So they're like, hey, let's just use him. That's what I heard the rumor was. But ultimately, look, it's Disney. They could only make one style of movie, and that's family-friendly films. And the original Blade was movie, although it is Marvel, was New Line Cinema, which is owned by Warner Brothers, which New Line Cinema is actually responsible for the Lord of the Rings, and it's also responsible for Freddy Krueger and a lot of horror movies. And if you look at that film, it opens up with the vampire getting pleasured by another vampire. It's not really Disney. You know what I mean? So it's not really a Disney type of film. It's rated R. There's a lot of violence, and there's real bad guys, and there's real stakes, and there's a lot of F-bombs, and Disney is woke, fake woke, because a lot of people brought it to my attention that woke is actually a good thing, I guess, but it's been hijacked. Fake woke is what Disney is. It's when you pretend you're for social justice, but you're just the opposite.
Yeah, it's all about the dollars. And I think Disney is now realizing, oops, we've made a mistake. I don't know I don't know how they're going to fix it. I don't know how long this is all going to take to get fixed. But yeah, because it's not a vampire movie, I've only seen clips, but the Snow White thing, I mean, oh my lordy gaudy god, that took me, as soon as they said they weren't going to use little people, and yet they put in little people, but CGI little people.
Did you watch it?
I haven't. I've seen bits.
No, I haven't seen it.
I thought I want to see the bits they're talking about. I saw your friend Andy. I saw Andy talking about that he'd gone to see it. Andy on Popcorn Planet. I saw that he went to see it, and he said it wasn't so bad. And maybe it's not, but the point is, so much is wrong in the fact that in making that movie, the girl, the actress, the lead, said some horrendous things. I mean, silly girl. And then you had the fact that there were little people who wanted work, because it's not like jobs come along every day in the acting world for little people. They all wanted work and thought, oh, this could be great. And was it Dinklage that said, ooh, stereotype? And I'm like, geez, Christ. Like, wait a minute. And so literally put little people out of work, and then instead still stuck little people in as cartoons.
Listen, it isn't live action. It's a cartoon. It's like you said, it's CGI, right? And even when they have blood, like fake blood, it's weird. Now, I wouldn't be too into the narrative that Disney's losing money. They probably get their stuff at pennies. So, like, I'm sure they made money. They keep going with it. So I'm sure they made money off the film, even though it wasn't reaching expectations or whatnot. I feel like people in Hollywood have like this contract with whoever the real boss is, who we don't know who it is, who says, hey, listen, you could get a gig, but you have to be like ultra dumb with your politics, or you have to have this one a political opinion, or you don't get a job. And because if you notice, everyone's in sequence, like the same, there's no thinking outside the box. Even if you get who does that? You get three people right here. I'm sure we have disagreements, but not in Hollywood though. Everyone is like, it's like
they at least have to say the right thing or the right
the message,
basically have to sell your soul to make your money. Because I know
I'm considered a minority here in the United States for some reason, but listen, we don't like that. We don't like that. We don't like, most of us don't like the DEI, because what it happens is, like, I want to be part of the Karen show. I want to be part of Disney or DC or whatever because of my merits, because I'm good at what I do. Right. I don't want to have a handout. I'm a failure if I do get a handout. That means that my job is to teach the next generation to do better, to qualify. If everyone was equal and everything was on merit, then it'd be fine. That's what we want. Because ultimately, if I become something big one day, there's always going to be somebody going, well, Lewis is just there because of DEI. And they ignore the fact that, hey, I'm not there because of a quota. I'm there because I'm kind of good at what I do. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Exactly.
That's what I want. But anyways, I don't know what this has to do with vampires, but
I don't know either. This is what happens on my show, though. We start talking stuff and I'll go off. So that I had something to present and I bloody can't do it. So I'm just going to put up my little picture.
What do you need to present?
Nothing. It wouldn't work. Hang on, is that it? I'm not very good at this stuff.
What is it? Is it StreamYard?
It doesn't matter. I had pictures of everything separate, but now I've only got picture. I'll just leave that up there for a minute because then you can see, because like we just talked about Blade, and Blade, I would love to see that again. And because there was 3, wasn't there? Because there's Blade, and then there was the one that had Ryan Reynolds in it as well.
Blade Trinity. It was awful.
Yeah, and yes.
Great.
Yes, and I remember seeing, because the first one was really, really good, and then and because also the boy that was in it, Dorf, I think his last name was, the one that played the really bad, like, it was disturbing. Blade, the first movie, it was disturbing, and all the special effects, like they're in the dance, like the rave or whatever it is, and
it's great. Tracy Lords is in there.
Yeah.
I forgot
about Tracy Lords. Yeah, she is too. She was too. And but it was really good, and it made you feel how I think you were supposed to feel watching it. Like, oh my God, like, get rid of the vampires. Like, it was disturbing. All the blood, it was like pretty gory, really, like blood coming out of there. What was it? The
water sprinklers.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh God, but I just loved that movie. And then, but then you go like these are just Lost Boys, which I didn't put in here, but the Lost Boys, I love that movie.
Well,
I mean, that's classic. But
let me say that as soon as you invited me to this show, Lost Boys, just perfect. I just love Lost Boys. It has that element of kids versus vampire versus a threat, which is the vampires. The vampires didn't hold back. They were just pure evil. There was barely a love interest, kind of a little bit, but it wasn't like, getting in the way. And just a sick and twisted idea that the Lost Boys, what are they? They are, maybe I'm overthinking this stuff, but they are Peter Pan, right? They never grow old, right? They always stay young. They're eternal. That's what the vampires are. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Like,
that's
great.
I know. I remember when it came out, being an Australian, one of the songs that's used in it was sung by 2 Australians, Michael Hutchins from In Excess and Jimmy Barnes, who not very many people in America. So it was all that era for me, like the time it came out. But the 2 Coreys, of course, Corey Haim.
Back to the Australians. What song did they sing?
Oh God,
Little Sister? Was it Little Sister?
No. Oh, hang on. Everybody sing. I can't sing. Everybody.
Not cry.
No. Hang on.
I love that song.
I could sing it, but I can't sing. Everybody. Just a minute.
remember,
because I'm not going to sing it.
Remember, that's an MTV movie. It's literally produced by MTV. That's very important there.
Jimmy, I'll just put in Jimmy Barnes. There you go. The song was Good Times. Good Times. Yeah, if I play a bit of it, I'm going to get copyright strike.
You can't do that. Yeah, don't do that.
No, but yeah, people can look it up. But yeah, I think the song plays there when they're on their motorbikes. Like there's that scene where they're driving through some kind of foggy motor, like that. Yeah, it's a motorbike scene. Yeah, I think that. But yeah, I just loved that. I just loved it, and because the 2 boys were in it, because again. The 2 Coreys, like they were a thing back then, those boys, and they girls had a crush on Corey Haim, and not so much the other Corey, but he's unique. Feldman, yeah, and I see a lot of people pick on him at the moment, and I really wish they wouldn't, because when you think about it,
half of the stuff that he says is true. It's horrifying.
It's a wonder
being a child in Hollywood.
Yeah. That being said, he's not a good guy.
No. Have you met him?
I've seen stuff he's done.
Was he polite to you though when you met him?
No. I thought it was funny. I said hi to him, ignored me, but that's besides the point. I know other stuff he's kind of weird with, but it doesn't make him a jerk, and it doesn't make him. I mean, it does make him a jerk, but it doesn't mean he deserved what he says was done to him.
Not what he says was done to him, and and it's interesting because you hear all that stuff. But again, that's off the vampire track. But the movie
is still vampire, because check this out. I have one of the last interviews with Corey Haim. If you
yes.
Did you see it?
Yes, that's one you're with him in a cafe or something, can't you?
I'm at a convention, yes. And he was with his mom and stuff. He was trying to get rehabilitated. He was doing autographs. And I talked to him about the sequel that they made on $5, which was totally disrespectful to that franchise. And we were upset at it. So no, I like Corey Haim a lot. I felt really bad for what happened to him. And real quick, I just want to say a quick story, because I always say this about Corey Haim, because that was a really big moment for me, because I love Lost Boys. It was one of my first interviews just on the internet. That during the autograph session, he took a break. He wanted to take a break. So he goes, "Hey man, could you walk me around so I could check out the convention and check out the toys and merchandise?" And I go, "Sure." He goes, "But just promise me one thing. Could you have someone look over my mom?" Because his mom was with them there. And I just, I think that's a big deal. I just do. Could you look over, making sure that his mom's taken care of, like someone's looking over her, that she's safe. I just think that's big.
Yeah. I must have, it says any man that looks out for his mum's a good mum, and Lewis looks out for his mum too, I know. But any man who does that is commendable, and it shows a lot of character. And I just think when Corey Haim, it's sad because there were, from a perspective of a fan looking from the outside in, a lot of things you don't hear about. So a lot of that stuff that was said to have happened to Corey was like, did it? Like really? Like you kind of miss it. And then when I actually found out more about it, I thought, you poor kid. Like, you poor kid. And how must his mum feel? Because his mum probably had no bloody idea it was going on. She was probably doing her best to support him with what he wanted to do, and people throwing money and God knows what else. And then I heard the story about which the other Corey backs up, the Charlie Sheen part of it. Yeah. I'm like, what? I'm like, why is Charlie even still not in jail? Like,
that's crazy. But ultimately, I do want to say this: it's all alleged, it's all accusations. It's all alleged. Right. Yeah. And I don't know how good the I don't know if the person saying it is that reliable. I just don't. I don't know.
Well, but that's the other thing, Lewis. One would think if it was true, and like I said, allegedly, like there's a lot of things that are alleged and there is no proof for. But if it were true, you would think, well, then again, I don't know, look at what goes on when people get away with it left, right, and center. But you would think that something would have been done, but I just
accuse others of stuff they do. So I mean, they hid Harvey Weinstein for a long time. And then
very long time.
Yeah, they like to preach at us. All those people that are preaching at us, yelling at us about how we are evil and everything. They are the one. There's a lot of people that are infiltrated that are just what they accuse others of doing. And but there are a lot of great people in Hollywood that just want to make a living. Like, for example, Karen. We could. Someone's watching our show saying, "Man, these two freaks on YouTube, they're probably like the worst people ever," but they don't know that we worked hard to build the channels and stuff like that. They don't know who we really are, and there's other YouTubers that are bad people that maybe reflects bad on us as well. And that's not fair.
No. And that happens because it does take a long, it's hard work. Like, I know how long Lewis has been around, for example, a lot longer than I have. And I watch how Lewis works, and he works every day, Lewis. You hardly have any time off, and works freaking hard and gets there and gets the interesting stuff. Like, he's done interviews with people. He looks into subjects that other people don't look into, because Enzo will remember, because I sent him to look at your channel when you were covering the aliens in Peru, right? Yeah. No one else was touching it at the time.
No, but then you were the only one.
The only one. And then, how's this? oh, I don't know, how long did it take? A couple of weeks, maybe a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks. And all of a sudden other people were reporting on it like they were the ones that discovered it. And that was mainstream media. And I'm like, Lewis found it. And that was because of your mum. Yeah. Your mum was watching.
My mom goes, because one thing is like, I don't know what Nerd Report's format is. I really don't. I don't know what the format is. And in order to maintain a channel, you have to have a format, like one topic. So I started doing a lot of weird stories and everything. And one of them was the actual the aliens in Peru. Which
vampires.
And they could have been
face stealing vampires. Yeah, I can sort of see it.
And honestly, I still don't know what the hell happened. I don't know what that is. Is it because either way, and we could go back and do a special. I would love to do a special show with you, Karen, in the future. Maybe go whatever happened to the Peruvian aliens. I'll come in and do that. Yeah, we can do that. And because ultimately, it's still an insane story. There's 3 things that could have happened. Number 1, aliens invaded. Number 2, mass hysteria within
true.
Different villages.
They're because they put out like a lot of videos of like looking up in the tree. There was that one famous video of the spotlight up in the tree, and there's a thing in the tree, and I never saw anything myself looking at that video, but the people on the ground were thoroughly convinced there was something running around inside of that tree.
Yeah. And the third thing is tourism. Maybe they wanted attention, but either way, those 3.
Who's going to go there for tourism if there's monsters that are coming out on hoverboards?
Just feel your face off.
But Enzo, right?
Yes.
Okay, listen, either way, even if you didn't see anything, then I'm going to turn around and say, well, how do you get tribes of people to just?
Oh, I agree.
Just say they saw one thing. That's still weird. That's a story right there. What the hell is that about?
The original official story was that these are hooligans coming in from the local crime boss, and they're stealing minerals, and they're riding around on some weird hoverboard thing,
still
and that's
weird.
scaring the locals. It's like, what?
And then when you look at those pictures, they're taken out of other places and photoshopped in. So it was strange.
Yeah, super weird.
Like, and I remember watching, because Lewis had that footage on which you're referring to, where it was supposed to be in the tree, and I'm like, very hard because of the footage, very hard. But they look like, I mean, it could have been a play on light. I don't know, but it looked like there was something there. What? Don't know. And then, like Lewis says, how do you account for a whole friggin' village? Like, if it were 1 or 2 people saying it, like we seem to have here and in America, some fella down the road said he saw an alien and it abducted him and blah blah. This is a whole town, like a whole village.
Yeah.
That was
and there were other videos where you've got armed people running around out in the jungle. They're
shooting at the sky.
into the woods. Yeah, they were horrified. There was something going on there that these people were genuinely afraid for their lives and their livelihoods. That something out, whether it's the predator or somebody riding around on hoverboards, as they said, which was ridiculous. It was
weird. It's all weird.
It was strange.
I feel that there's a lot of things that go on down in South America all the time, but we never hear about it here in the U.S., mostly because I feel of the language barrier.
Are you in LA? Are you in the United States?
Yes. I'm in Kansas.
Okay.
Which is not as middle as you can get.
Yeah.
But it's certainly one of those things where, because I'm a UFO nerd myself.
Yes.
And it seems like when you do hear about something that comes out of Central and South America, it's way over the top, wild stuff of, not just seeing a light in the sky and everybody is curious about it, of actual beings on the ground, like attacking people or running around, evading the government officials and things like that. A lot of different stories like that, where it's like, what is going on down there?
Well, it's because it's a lot of undiscovered country there. A lot of it's like engulfed in, it's all forest, and there's a lot of mysteries behind there. And there's a lot of tribes that are not they don't, they're not what we would call civilized or up to date with what we are. Here's a weird one. Speaking of vampires, there is a thing that in Latin America they have the chupacabra, which is the cow mutilation thing. And what that is, it's like a vampire alien where they find cattle just like with 2 pokes on it, like the vampire bite, and all the blood taken out of the animals. And that's been a thing too with aliens, and it's kind of like a vampire monster or something, if you ask me.
Almost every cattle mutilation story that's come out of going all the way back into the late 60s, early 70s is the very first thing is there was no blood around this animal.
And I remember that was an American thing. I don't know when it became a Latin American thing, but whatever.
Yeah. And then I remember watching a show where they went down somewhere or other to check out what I'm just seeing if I can find for people who don't know. The only thing I can't obviously I can't find a picture of a chupacabra because I don't know.
They look like dogs sometimes.
But hang on, share screen. I think this is it. I'm not very good at sharing my screen, but there we go. Can everyone see that?
Yeah,
I can't.
Right there.
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah, look, he's got vampire teeth. But yeah, it's interesting to me that all of these things, but yeah, it could be a vampire dog. Maybe it's a vampire's dog that got bitten and now it's a chupacabra. Maybe vampires are real. Actually, while I'm talking to you, Lewis, one of my other all-time favorite movies was Fright Night, the original.
Yeah, I love that one. I love that one.
Roddy McDowall, because Roddy McDowall, who played Peter the Vampire Killer.
Roddy McDowall's always good in everything he does anyway, and he always has to do the, oh dear, dear. Line
I
somewhere
know.
in every
well, again, as a little girl, one of my favorite movies was Lassie Come Home, which had Roddy McDowall in it, where he comes out of school as he's just a little boy and he comes out and Lassie's sitting by the tree with all the bloody paw prints because she's just walked from Scotland back to England. And you can cry at those movies, but I loved Roddy McDowall through all of everything, and when he was in that and played Peter the Vampire Killer, because he was also in Planet of the Apes, he was Galen.
That's what I always think of with Roddy McDowall. That's my first.
Yeah, I loved Roddy McDowall stuff, but that movie was just brilliant. I loved it. It was so well done. And the creepy kid at the end, his mate that gets bitten, and then they've got to kill him because he turns into some kind of funny werewolfy type thing. But then right at the end, is he dead? Because then you see the little eyes and you hear his laugh like that. They just knew how to make movies. I think my favorite kind of movies are like The Lost Boys, and Fright Night movies Fright Night that incorporate a little bit of humor into it, because otherwise it's really like that's what Blade had some one-liners, but not really comedy. Like it was just like, but you watch some movies and because it's pretty heavy or you're waiting to get it helps if there's a little levity. It helps if there's a little bit of a giggle because it relaxes the tension a bit, and then you go into the next scary, bit. But I just love that movie. And with the boy, I'm going off of my memory now, but the boy that played the main character, the one that lived next door to the vampire, was he the same one that was in Gremlins, or was that a different actor? I'm trying to remember.
Chris Sarandon?
No, hang on. Oh, probably. Oh, my stupid mouse. It's all right. I'm having trouble with my mouse this morning.
I don't remember the movie. Like I was a latecomer to
you would have been you would have been a baby.
Yeah, but I watched what's it called, Lost Boys, when I was a little kid. But I skipped Fright Night for some reason. And a lot of people thought Fright Night and Lost Boys were neck and neck as far as like how good they were. I ultimately like
no, even me, because Lost Boys was the best. I mean, the other one was fun. Fright Night's a classic, but Lost Boys, you can't. And it was funny at the time. I don't think it was hugely popular. It became more popular over the years as sort of like a cult type movie.
Yeah.
But I hope they never try to, unless they have, and I haven't seen it. I hope they never try to remake it.
With Colin Farrell.
Ah.
Well, it doesn't matter though, because like I learned a long time ago that it doesn't replace the original.
Oh, Fright Night. Yeah, that's the one you're talking about. They remade. Yes. With David Tennant.
Had two sequels after, I believe.
Yeah, David Tennant was in that remake. I watched it because of David Tennant, the Fright Night one, but it was painful to watch. The whole movie was painful to watch, except for David Tennant's parts in it. He was entertaining. He played the Peter the Vampire Killer role, but it was nothing on the original. Nothing. Like, you know, and then have you ever spoken? I see asking Lewis, who he's interviewed, is going to just devastate me if he turns around and says they're horrible. But have you ever? Because I think he's okay. I don't think he's part of the norm in Hollywood. But have you ever spoken to Jamie Kennedy? You know, from the Scream movies. He's got his own YouTube channel now, but he's a comedian.
He goes to Mad Monster where we do our reunion. Yeah.
Oh, please.
Cool. And just for the record, there's very few actors that I've interviewed officially that are bad, like that are rude. There's like maybe one or two. I'm not sure. And the situation with Corey Feldman wasn't an interview. It was just passing by, you know?
Passing.
Like,
we don't. Well, I'll make up an excuse for Corey Feldman. Maybe before he passed by you, someone had just picked on him and said something really horrible. So that's why.
I still don't hate him. He was in Lost Boys. He's awesome.
Oh, he's awesome. And he was funny. He was a funny kid. His little voice and everything. Yeah. And he was in Stand By Me as well. Stand By Me.
He did a lot of stuff, right? Yeah, he did a lot of
He's been in tons. I have to ask you, though, did you see, it took me a while to watch the movie with Jamie Kennedy and Matt Rife. Matt Rife, as a comedian, I've watched his stand-up. He makes me giggle, right? I didn't know that he actually acted as well, but apparently he does. But the movie was called Don't Suck. And I thought it took ages. I think Jamie Kennedy was sort of backing that producer-wise. It was his money. So it didn't go anywhere, I don't think. But I did watch it. And it was okay.
To see it. I didn't get a chance to see this one.
That's the only one on your list here that you have that I haven't seen. I don't know what that one is. I've never even heard of it.
It's basically Jamie Kennedy plays himself. I don't think he calls himself Jamie Kennedy, but he's basically Jamie Kennedy, the stand-up comedian, at a comedy club when Matt Rife's character comes out and basically dies on not die as in he puts on a comedy show and it's terrible and nobody laughs and whatever. And somehow Matt Rife's character has to support Jamie's character in a little bit of a tour, okay, a comedy tour. And it's just sort of what ensues, and then Jamie realizes the kid's a vampire, like he's an actual vampire, and then all of a sudden he becomes really popular and so on and so forth. And it's kind of, and it gets to be, it's okay. It's an okay movie. I enjoyed it. So, but I went to try and find it again. I can't remember where I had to have paid to watch it because I couldn't find it anywhere. But I can't find where I watched it. But it's worth a watch if anybody likes Jamie Kennedy, because of course I love the Scream, the original, like the Scream.
The new ones are okay. They're not that bad.
They're not. The new ones aren't too bad, but they're not too bad. But I always remember, because Jamie Kennedy, okay, he's getting older, all right? We can't all look beautiful as we get older, but he had his eyes are most brilliant blue. And when you watch him in the Scream movies, despite the fact that there's another cast of men in it, I reckon Jamie's the most handsome one. His eyes are so pretty. And then he dated, what was the girl's name? Ghost Whisperer? The girl that was in the TV show Ghost Whisperer. She's really pretty, a beautiful girl.
I don't know.
It doesn't anyway. He dated her, and I thought, God, how did you get to date her? But then again, it is what it is. The other movie that I watched, and I watched it, but it was Renfield. Have you seen Renfield with Nicolas Cage?
No, I did not. The last thing, it was good.
I enjoyed it mostly just to see. There's a scene specifically where Nicolas Cage has Nicolas Cage is Dracula. You know, the traditional Dracula storyline and all that stuff. Still alive. Renfield, of course, is his kind of human assistant that has certain powers where he can like eat a bug and he can crawl around like a spider. You know, things like that. He's not necessarily superhuman, but the story is that Renfield runs across this like community circle kind of help group where they're talking about you know, the overpowering person in your life and how you can change your life. You can do all these, you know, self-help kind of things. And he's like, I'm going away from Dracula, and he sets up his own little apartment and all this. And there's a scene where Dracula shows up at his little crappy little one-bedroom apartment. And it is so hilarious seeing Nicolas Cage going just over the over the top Nicolas Cage type
Dracula.
performance that we all love.
Yeah.
As Dracula, just throwing a fit that, you know, Renfield has run off and left him to go get his own tea and things like that. It is. There's a lot of really funny stuff.
It didn't get a great rave or whatever, and I don't know why, but
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. It was worth a watch. The woman that Jamie Kennedy used to date, that her name escaped me, Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he used to date her. She's a pretty girl, pretty lady. Yeah, but that was a good one. And then
Love you. That's not. Isn't that Buffy?
no, hang on, I'll show you a picture of her. Where are you, Jennifer? Hang on.
Or
That
is
other
she's
Ghost
from,
Whisperer show or whatever it was. Yeah.
no, she's from I Know What You Did Last Summer. Yeah.
Yes.
From,
Yes, she was. Oh, why can't I show it? Yes, she was in that. Oh, see, all the things that you can't remember people are in. Share screen. Oh, there we go. Her.
Yeah, I know what she is.
Yeah. She was in another show where she played a massage therapist. I watched that. It only went for a couple of seasons. That was really good. Then it just stopped. I guess it got cancelled. but yeah, she was good in that. She played a massage therapist that gave happy endings. And she made lots of money.
Yeah.
It was a good movie. I can't remember, a good TV show. I just can't remember what it was called, and then it just stopped. But let's see. But yeah, so the other movie, of course, I loved was George Hamilton in Love at First Bite. Again, I'm showing my age, but I saw that when it came out at the cinema in the 70s. So that's how old that is.
Yeah, I didn't see that in the cinema.
Oh, you were still in? Yeah, I think you were still in nappies, Lewis.
Yeah, I remember that being advertised. It's like a 70s.
Yeah, it's a 70s type movie, but even the humor, like I think I put a little clip up, the clip up of where they're talking. The guy pulls out his what do you call the Jewish star? They've got
Star of David. Yeah,
the Star of David. And he goes,
Richard Benjamin. That's why there's almost like an element of because we were talking about it before the show of like the Naked Gun or Airplane, where just this over the top ridiculous thing, because Richard Benjamin is kind of like your Van Helsing type character in the movie, where he's trying to kill Dracula kind of a thing, but he keeps messing it up. Where he pulls out the Star of David, it's like, get back, and it's like, oh, no, you're that's not the one.
That's not the one. And then later,
he pulls out a gun. It's like 6 silver bullets. Bam, bam, bam. It's like
wrong,
right either.
There
was
one 70s movie called Blackula too.
Now, Blackula.
Back in the day, people don't know this is blaxploitation films.
Yes,
very cool with black people. I mean, I'm sure some people get offended at everything, but I've always been requested when I do movies like, hey, could you review some blaxploitation? And something like what Quentin Tarantino does a lot when he has his films. He refers to those 70s films with like over the top things. Back then there were grindhouse films and everything. But there you go, Blackula.
I saw that at the cinema, not the cinema, the drive-in. I saw that at the drive-in. I was just and nobody might. Yeah, that was that. it's just made me think of another movie actually that was not about vampires. The Case of the Smiling Stiffs. I don't know why that just. I don't think anyone probably knows what that movie is. Basically, it was one of those. It was. I saw that at the drive-in too, and I think I saw it. It was like an overnight thing. There was a whole heap of different movies. Blackula was one of them. Case of the Smiling Stiffs was another. It was a whole heap of things. And I remember being on it was a date with a boy, and I was like, I was a good girl, right? And I'm watching this going, oh, and shrinking and like, oh, and getting all embarrassed because I didn't know where to look. But the Case of the Smiling Stiffs. If anybody doesn't know what that is, you look it up. Because I'm not going to say what happened to make them smiling stiffs.
Oh.
But it's kind of in the name. It was funny. But yeah, no, and you're right. Like back then, something like Blackula, there was another, wasn't there something else that was, oh no, I'm thinking of, what was the character's name? He was black. I think he was a police, Shaft.
Yeah, Shaft was big, okay. And then they had Samuel Jackson replayed him.
Yeah, replayed him. But so there was a lot going on back in the 70s. But yeah. Well, someone's just asking, did the show Supernatural deal with vampires? Yeah, just about every season there was a vampire story in Supernatural. Yeah, their vampires had funny teeth though.
Yeah, it was like they had just a mouthful of just sharp teeth that would just fly out of their mouth, kind of thing. What's Black Cat saying? I used to talk with Corey Feldman occasionally because we have the Goonies Monopoly in Oregon. He was always nice to me. He's a different kid. Feldman, yeah, that's what I mean.
I have their own different.
Everyone has their opinion, and that's just the thing. Lewis had a bad experience.
I have more of the story.
Oh, okay, do.
I'm not going to say publicly.
Oh, okay. Well, you can tell me that later.
Maybe.
But yeah, I don't know. Vampire movies, I just love. I rewatched what I could of. Again, all these movies now you got to pay to watch. But I rewatched the really old one, the 1922 one, Nosferatu, and it's like that was scary for the day. Like that was scary, and that makeup that they did all the way back then. Like when people. If you've been watching my shorts, people, you would have seen I did a little short on the guy who played him, a guy called Max Schreck. But he wasn't like. Back in the day when people did the old movies and the silent movies, makeup wasn't a big thing like it is now. They didn't have all the prosthetics and stuff, but they obviously did something back then because Nosferatu, the vampire, looked nothing like Max Schreck that played him. So the makeup was really good, but just the way they filmed it was really creepy and scary. So we've come a long way, I guess, since 1922. But it's just interesting that vampires are always a thing that seem to fascinate people, like always. But and there was actually a story about the guy who played. Because I researched, because I wanted to research him and who he was and when he died and what his life was, sort of thing. But I saw that. After his death and possibly while he was still alive, people were saying, oh, he really is a vampire.
That's what they were saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, oh, he really is a vampire. He's crazy and he lives in recluse and he was a married man. They lived in a regular house. He was a married man, kept to himself. But this is how strange things, even back then, will go on. And he did die. For those who didn't see my short, he was a stage actor, primarily a stage actor. He was on stage one night, finished his performance, went backstage, said, oh, I feel a bit sick. And the doctor said, go to the hospital, please, and just get checked out. He went to the hospital, but he passed away the next morning. He had a heart attack. So if he were really a vampire, he'd still be around, wouldn't he?
Well, we don't know. Maybe he still is.
Yeah, maybe he is, yeah.
They did a remake.
Yeah. Have you seen that, Lewis? Did you watch it? You did. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't watch it because I kind of thought, like some of the actors in it, fair enough, but I had no interest in
Oh, they
watching
also
that.
changed the look. His look was perfect in the original. I mean,
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can't, like, that's so scary. I mean, if I saw something like that coming in my bedroom door through my window over night time, I swear to God, I think you'd die of just shock. You just have it, but yeah, very, very good. And there's so many, like a lot of people, I've been reading the chat, guys, honest, I have, but a lot of people have got different movies that they've watched over the time. And then, of course, you have your vampire TV shows, which took off like wildfire. What was that one very popular? I can't remember what it was called now. Not long ago I think they made about 7 or 8 seasons of it. And then it had spin-offs.
Vampire Diaries?
Thank you, the Vampire Diaries. I watched the Vampire Diaries. I thought it was entertaining. It was okay. Got a bit silly towards the end, as they all do. Why do shows get like that? It gets to the end, you get up to a certain season, and all of a sudden the storylines are stupid and
start running out of ideas. Yeah.
Oh,
And then it's not because of money, because they want to continue. They only have a certain certain amount of storylines, and then they continue to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it's not good anymore.
Well, they might need to go back and look at shows that are, not that I've watched it in many years, but when I was pregnant with my sons back in the day, my mother used to watch a show called Days of Our Lives, right? My mother would watch that. Then as an adult, like that's still going, I think. I don't know. But then as an adult, I started, because my mum would watch it and I'd sort of get hooked in a little bit. Maybe just take a leaf out of, because those shows just go and go and go and go, and it's the same stories just done in a different way over and over.
It's been on since 1965.
Yeah, and that's like I can remember my mum watching Days of Our Lives back in the 60s, and another show called Peyton Place that didn't stay popular for long. Days of Our Lives. General Hospital.
General Hospital was one that my mom and my youngest sister were really big into, and it managed to get me roped into it. It's like, oh, we got to go do this thing. Can you watch watch our story and tell us what happened? So it turns out you only really need to watch on Monday and Friday, because that's the only day that big things happen plot wise. The Tuesday through Thursday stuff is just filler. Leading up to Friday is my overview of all of it.
Oh, you have a terrorist chihuahua. You're muted.
Yeah, I'm muted because he was barking. That's why he's in my arms. And I've got nothing. What are you doing? Nothing.
What is she doing?
She's hiding behind the curtain. There she is. Yes, someone must have come to the door. So my Taco Bell Chihuahua.
What's going on in your background? That's not real, is it?
Yeah. This is my living room.
No. Enzo.
Enzo. Oh, that's real. Yeah, Enzo's.
This is actually a live shot from a bar down in St. John's in the Virgin Islands.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Sometimes there's people partying and doing really weird things in the background.
Amazing.
But there you go. I just think, is anyone got any questions about anything? I know you've been talking amongst yourself. You're a very, very good chat. But as the stomach turns, sorry, nerd. What's that? I would still watch it if it came back. Like,
what's up, Ann?
Hey, Ann. Hi, Ghettos. Like just. I don't know. There's so many, like I just thought a lighthearted subject today and just talk about stuff that's a bit fun, and just sort of keep it light. But yeah, vampire movies, although the subject is a little bit spooky, like someone coming along in the middle of the night and biting you on the neck, it's not real. So I think that's why you can cope and sort of, I don't know.
It's humans trying to cheat death. That's what it is. We want to think like, you know, there's an
I'm
evil
always-
entity that never dies. That means we don't die either. You know, that's
Yeah.
why
Right.
these stories are
I feel like part of the reason, because it seems to me at least that a lot of women enjoy a kind of the romantic side of a vampire type story where basically you've got eternal life. You will be with this vampire person forever, as long as
Oh
you
my
don't go to the
God,
tanning
that
booth.
sounds like a nightmare, Enzo.
Okay, normie women think that spending the rest of their days with a single person may be more attractive.
That's what we call mansplaining. Like, no, yes. You know what I mean?
No.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Oh, God.
There's also goofy vampires too, like you know,
Twilight.
I
I don't understand the Twilight thing. That's the thing is, underneath all of this, there's certainly this romanticized version of vampires, but it's a trap. They're luring you in to basically be this eternal slave kind of a thing to them, and then to make Twilight, the whole Twilight series, where it's like they don't really turn to ash when they go into the sun; they just sparkle a little bit, and they're generally good people, except for the whole blood sucking thing. And it's just the bizarreness, I feel, of the Twilight thing. I don't understand. I
They're
wish
just
someone
so
would
poorly
explain it.
made. Like
They
there's
weren't.
Dracula, Love at First Bite with Leslie Nielsen.
That was not one of his best works, that's for sure.
Dead and Loving It. Dead and Loving It. Yeah.
That was it.
That was it. Actually, Lewis, have you ever interviewed Johnny Depp?
I've seen Johnny Depp like pass by. Well, I saw him at the concert, obviously, when we went to Vegas. But I didn't see him at a red carpet. That's about it.
There you go. Because you know what, my friend Taylor just popped up. Ed Wood, Bella Lugosi. I did a little bit of research on Bella Lugosi, and I've seen some old interviews with him when he was back in the 20s, when he was or 30s, when he was very popular. And he had quite a sense of humor. Like if you watch the old interviews with him, there's a few old interviews. He was actually very funny, but he was also a very sad man because he was Dracula. And that's how people, Bela Lugosi's Dracula. And he did a really good job of it. But he also really actually wanted to act like in other things. And it just didn't.
He got stereotyped.
He did. He got stereotyped. And that is what actually broke his heart. And then a whole heap of things happened. And then over time, he just became, poor. Like he didn't get any work, and he'd do jobs just to do jobs, like where he'd make a random appearance as Dracula or as something scary. And it's kind of sad because when you look back at the old footage, and you can Google it on YouTube. I won't play it because I'll get, but if you Google Bela Lugosi interview, it comes up. You'll see an interview with him that was done back in the day, his heyday. Man, and it's sort of sad that sometimes these actors can get typecast and they just can't move away from it. And he died not very rich, which was sad, but I think he was happy. I think he had a good family and everything, but just didn't ever get the notoriety past being Dracula, really. But
what's crazy though is if he would have been around now, he would have been a billionaire because he would have done all these conventions like Stan Lee. Because those are like nowadays, even their kids get like do autographs. The kids of this Lugosi and everything. So like if he was around now and if he did like a Comic-Con, he'd probably charge like $100 and get like,
and he would get it.
1,000 people getting the autograph.
Exactly.
$100 is cheap. $150. I guarantee you, he'd sign 1,000 autographs. He'd get $110,000 a gig, easy.
Yep, I saw Jamie Kennedy was on his channel. He was talking about going along and doing these conventions.
He goes up to Bad Monster. That's where he's going to be at our meetup. That's where I
Yeah.
saw him. That's where I'll videotape him next time so you can see him. But
Yeah.
no,
You should try and get an interview with him. Get an interview with him. He's funny. He's funny.
He's actually like I mean, he's big, but Bela Lugosi's way bigger. So like imagine how much he would be making.
Oh, exactly.
Awesome.
Oh, thank you, Anne. Thank you so much. And I just put a thank you to my members up today, so I'll add you on my next thank you members one. I'm lucky. I don't have too many members yet, Lewis. So I'm lucky. They all fit on one little.
This YouTube stuff, man. Right now, I'm getting like 5 people watching. I don't know what the hell if I'm getting blackballed or what, but I'm at the point where I don't care. Like I'm just doing stuff.
Well, and that's the thing too. And I will say it. When I did have a break from YouTube for a little while there because the community that I was in was mainly paranormal, and unfortunately, that community can be very toxic. I don't care what it says. It's really toxic. Any community can be,
He's right. Yeah.
But in particular, this one, very drama based, very. They said this, she said that, they're this, they're that, and horrible. And so it was stressful. So I backed away. And when I came back, that's why I changed my channel name from Doof Doof Paranormal to The Karen Show, because I thought I'll still talk about stuff like that. I'm happy to talk about stuff like that, but I also want to talk about other things and try. Sometimes I talk about things like you did this morning, Lewis, with that tragedy in Texas. Sometimes I do want to talk about tragic things because it's happening. And if I'm thinking about it, other people are thinking about it. If I'm hurt by it, other people might be hurt by it. So it's a good way to talk to people in the community who don't necessarily have anyone else to talk to about these things that might be affecting them. But yeah, so I've found since I've come back, it used to be that I'd have a decent amount of people watching, but yeah, much like you, and I've noticed, and now people that are here at the moment, some of you are obviously familiar with Lewis, okay? Some of you may not be, but Lewis's channel, look, on average, probably sometimes you'd go on live and have 100 or more people, sometimes more depending upon the subject, watching. Now it's kind of like you're still getting him, but it's weird. It's kind of like there's something in the algorithm that's screwing with other people's channels if you talk about certain subject matters, I think. I don't know what it is. And then you have the bigger channels. And I think it still hits even Andy with Popcorn Planet. Andy now I haven't watched as much of, but I noted that sometimes he was saying that some of his shows just get like boom taken down. That's it. He's talked about something that YouTube doesn't like, and there's a kibosh put on his show. So. I don't know. It's just kind of
talk about one topic, and it's like for him right now is Blake Lively, and I just can't with that. I can't. I don't like Justin Baldoni. I can't sit here and say I don't like Blake Lively either, but I just sit here and kiss his ass all day like the fangirls he has. To me, he's not hot. I don't swing that way, so I have no I don't have an interest in defending the guy no matter what. I don't know. I'm not attracted to men, so why would I be?
Oh my God, I'm shocked.
Well, I mean, all praise you are, but it seems like he has this like fangirl base that no matter what has to like simp for him. And no, the dude's not. I don't know. He gives me a weird vibe. I have the right to do that, to say that. And if I say something neutral, but obviously, if you don't know the situation, Blake Lively accused him of
blowing in your ear or something,
harassment. And maybe she's right, maybe she's not. I don't know. The stuff has to, I want to see the trial. It looks like she's full of it, honestly. But I just, I'm done with that topic. And that's the topic right now that's big with entertainment. And it's like, I don't want to talk about that all day.
No. And there's something else, I can't remember what it is, that's big at the moment. Not just that, there's something else. And I'm like, can't remember what it is. But that's what I mean. I just kind of think, I don't mind touching on a subject, like, oh, did you see today this? But I just kind of find I get stressed. I think
Yeah,
how much
even
more,
the politics, like it gets stressing because I'm not 100% conservative either. I mean, and I'm not liberal. Like, am I? I'm probably even more liberal socially than anything. But I also want people to, the government to be careful how they spend my money, and I don't want my son to go to war for a place that we don't even know where it is on the
Yeah,
map.
you couldn't point to it on a globe. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and yeah. So I can't really cover that all the time without getting high blood pressure because
Yeah.
right now, like people in America don't want there's actually a group here that think it's bad to audit the government and make sure our tax money is going to which is just bizarre, especially when those were the same people 10 years ago talking about how our government spending is out of control, going to things that shouldn't be going to, and now they just turned. And if I say that, I'm a bad guy.
oh yeah, yeah.
So it's like I just laid it out to you. Audit. If I'm paying you X amount of money to do a
I
job
want to know where my
and the
money's
job
going.
not getting done,
It doesn't seem like a big ask to know where that money's going. It
just
really
ask.
does.
Yeah,
But
and then on, yeah,
people
and
it's weird.
yeah. And on top of that, again, in my country, the same thing. We have politicians here who they are businessmen, most of them, the leaders. They've got a business. But for example, we've got one that was a policeman. He resigned from the police force, became a politician. He's a millionaire now. And I'm thinking, how the hell do you do that? How do you go from being a policeman on a policeman's wage to being a politician on a politician's wage, which is about a little bit more.
Don't ask that question. You can't ask. Don't ask
You
questions.
can't ask how they exactly. Yeah. And so it's the same here. We have the same issues, and I think if anybody went into how they're spending the money here too, it'd be the same thing. But yeah, you can't say anything, and then people just. And I've seen it on Lewis's channel. You mention the name of one person who rescued some astronauts, and it's, I hate him.
Why don't you like that? Why don't you like him?
Why?
He's weird.
He's weird. Yeah, that's usually it. He's weird.
The TV told me so is really what it is.
Yeah, it's just bizarre. Okay, he's weird. All right.
Okay.
Well, then
So
this is my opinion. This is just my opinion. This is not. He dated Amber Heard. Okay, what do you think of Johnny Depp, though? Oh, I love Johnny Depp. Well, guess what? This guy you hate, just wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, was smart enough not to stay. Johnny Depp actually bought that piece of, garbage, married it. So Johnny Depp's worse.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I did see someone actually ask, they were at one of those Tesla rallies, and the guy says, what did he say to her? I put a clip up because I thought this is perfect. A guy says to this woman holding the hand, so what do you think of Elon giving Ukraine Starlink for free? And this woman, oh, I don't think that's true. And he goes, yes, it's true. He helped Ukraine out with Starlink so that they weren't isolated, and it was for free. And she goes, oh, well, when did he do that? And he goes, a couple of years ago now when the war broke out. And she's like, oh. And he goes, so you don't think that's nice? And the woman goes, oh well, I guess. And he goes, so, yeah, like it just flattened the argument. So
yeah.
it's just more, I don't know.
It's almost too easy to expose. I mean, I tell everybody, I go, look, if you're putting those, I'm gonna say, let me see, the Yahtzee symbol. I may insult you too.
Yahtzee. Yeah, Yahtzee.
I may insult you too. I'm sorry. I don't want to offend you, but I'm gonna be real, okay? If you put the Yahtzee symbol without crossing it out, and you're a middle-aged white dude, that is you. You are the Yahtzee. That's the way it works. That's the way gangs work. Gangs do not post their gang symbol, the opposite gang symbol on people's property. What they do is they put theirs. It's marked their territory. So if you're putting a Yahtzee symbol, not the other thing, YouTube, the World War II villain symbol, vandalizing a car on graffiti like that, you are the Yahtzee. Sorry, and that's a hate crime.
Yep.
That's a hate crime. That's just the way it is.
Yep.
I'm sorry, and I'm not a person. I don't think of those guys. The only time I think of them is when I watch Indiana Jones movies. There's with these people. And
look, and that's the thing though, that those times were so long ago, and people shouldn't forget, nor have they, because there's still people alive that lived through that horrific time. But yeah, it's just I don't know
how horrific it is to have family that lived through those times, and then you bought a car, and then you go to dinner, and you come outside, and you see that symbol there in your car, knowing that your grandparents were victims of those monsters.
Yeah,
and that's the thing is. The people that are doing that sign on other people's cars just 2 years ago were saying you need to buy one of these to save the environment.
Yep.
It's like,
wait a minute, buy another one, because in 2 years that's going to be the vehicle they're going to be targeting. You know what I mean? And look, I drive a Tesla. It's the best it's the best car ever made. I don't even like cars. And I'll challenge anybody for that. The only drawback is it takes a while to charge, but guess what? It doesn't.
How long does it take to charge a Tesla? So how long does it take to charge? You can just leave it charging overnight, I guess.
It's weird. It's weird because honestly, 0, because you just leave it charging overnight. I have the slowest charging system, and overnight I'm at what I need. So I never see a gas station. So basically, I haven't seen a gas station in 2 years. So basically, I'm not really wasting any time, because when I had a gas car, I parked in my driveway. So now I'm still parking in my driveway, except I'm not visiting a gas station. So you could do the math like that, and I have the slowest thing. Now I'm opposed to the government telling you that you have to drive an EV. That I'm opposed to, and I'm sure there's people that aren't going to like it because it's not for everyone. But holy cow, man. If you want a fast car that's comfortable, that looks good, that's always giving you something different because it has updates, and I'm not a car person. I hate cars. If you're sick of oil changes, if you're sick of what is it, the smog tax or whatever, dude, what else do you want? It's amazing. If you like fast cars, I'm as fast as a Lamborghini. What else do you want? If you like gas stations, keep your gas car. I don't
exactly. It's like, I think I should write a letter to Elon Musk, and I should mention you, and I should say, I think you should contact Lewis, and I think you should help him out with a brand new Tesla, and he'll just talk about it all day and night.
The charging station, the works, yeah.
And I'll take a secondhand one any day.
Well, I researched it too. I did look. People that own those cars, if you look on YouTube, they have 2 or 3 of them. Why would you buy 2 or 3 of them if the car sucked?
Yeah,
I'm not an environmental guy. I'm not sitting here and saying save the environment. I'm not an environmental guy. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I was never an environmental person. I think half of that's a cash grab. But okay, forget that I just said that.
Yeah,
I'm not doing it.
What did you say?
I'm not a hypocrite. But I love the car is awesome, and if it's awesome, it's awesome. What more could I say?
Yeah.
What more could I say? It's an awesome, and it's an electrical awesome car. What?
Yeah.
You have the auto drive feature on your vehicle?
I did, and I did have it for 6 months, and I barely used it because it was terrifying.
That's what I was going to ask. Is how much do you trust it? Can you take a nap while you're going someplace?
You can. It's probably safer than humans, but it's like saying this. It's like telling you, hey, by the way, you don't need the ground to walk anymore. You're good just floating. And it's like, no, I've been walking all my life on the ground. Why would I trust it? It's just like a mind thing, it's but
sure.
Yeah, how many accidents do you hear that happen? None. The only time you hear of a Tesla catching fire or anything is because either someone sets it on fire or it's a
Right.
bullshit meme. It's
Yeah.
fake. I Googled, if you chat GPT, how many Cybertrucks have caught fire due to engine problems. The amount is astonishing. It's zero. But if you look at the news, it seems like all of them are blowing up. Well, let me ask you, if they catch fire on their own, why do you have to put them on fire? I thought they were coming up on fire all the time. You know. Anyways, that's.
I was astonished by a couple of months back now when that man ended his story outside of the Trump building. I thought it was miraculous. It was actually, I kind of half wondered, did he pick that car on purpose to do what he did that day? Because the car
contained most of that explosion.
Contained most of the explosion. So yes, he went along. He did what he did, and he's no longer currently living in the world. But because of the car that he was behind the wheel of, if it had a wheel, many people lives were saved because of how that works out. And I think they do that not because someone like him would do what he did, but because if something does go wrong with those batteries, as you've explained to me once before, Enzo, they've got to be contained because it's incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, so the thing is, if you look at that explosion, there was someone standing literally 3 feet away from that vehicle,
and he survived
because of they were concealed by the the blast was concealed by the actual
make of the car.
Correct.
So
the sidewalls, yeah.
So it's amazing what goes into the technology behind these cars, and of course, I'm looking forward to, but not sure if I'll ever be able to afford one. But I'm looking forward to the little robots that are coming out. They look awesome. I hope they're as good as they look.
The cars are actually, compared to, at least in America, compared to other cars, they're about the same price at this point. Vehicles are like 30, 40,000. Gas operated cars, that's what the Teslas are at. Again, do your own research. You may not like them and stuff, but people have the right to drive whatever the hell they want. And
and not be attacked.
Correct. And if you don't fight for that, then so
but yes, it did blow up, but it blew up because of the bomb. If I can say that word, it didn't blow up because it was a Tesla.
Okay, so I could answer all of Julie's questions right there.
Go for it. Go for it.
Well, you want a highlighter?
Yeah,
I will. Oh, yeah, that's right.
All right, several disadvantages. All right, including higher upfront costs. Nope, same. By the way, lower insurance if you go through them. Limited driving range.
I didn't know that.
Limited driving range. Well, I don't know, 325 miles. I think that's kind of on par with the gas car, but yeah, it's limited. I never ever had a problem with how much I've driven. Like I've never ran out of battery or even close to it. Limited driving, longer charge times. It's a give and take. You also have to work overtime to be able to afford the $6 gas that's in California. So you have to work like how many more hours to be? I pay $70 a month now for gas, for what's the equivalent of filling my car, and opposed to $150 a week. So there you go. Concerns about battery lifespan. It's the guarantee is 150,000 miles.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
What a regular car is.
That's a whole lot. Yeah.
That's
and even at the 150,000 miles, that's like what, 70% the original
Charging
charge
infrastructure
rate?
with Teslas is beautiful. It's everywhere where there's one every. It's the same as a gas station, but like I said, you could also go into your house.
Could you do like a cross country trip from California to the East Coast?
Yeah, it's going to take you longer. I'm not going to lie. It is going to take you like 2 hours, 3 hours more.
Yeah, you got to stop and recharge. So
yes,
which takes a while.
I don't live in Kansas. Yeah, well, you don't live in California.
You're lucky. You're good. It's a nice place to leave. You're lucky there.
Well, my understanding, and because you've got one, Lewis, you can tell me, but my understanding is regardless of whether there's charging stations near you, depends where you want to drive to, but you charge it at home. So if you live in Kansas and you have a Tesla and you've got the charger in your house, because you can do up to 300 and something miles before you need to charge again. If you live locally, it's not going to be an issue. You just drive to your store, you drive
regional commuter type stuff. I feel like is well within normal.
One thing you could do is you put on your map, like wherever you're going. Let's say I want to go to Kansas, from LA to Kansas. It will direct you towards like charging stations, so it'll map out your trip, right? So it'll map out your trip to go there. Again, probably, yeah, a gas car is way more, it's way easier to do it for a long distance, but I don't know. I don't go to Kansas I don't take those trips. I go like once a year to Vegas,
Right.
So
and that's not even like that far probably from where you're at.
It is 5 hours away. It is 5 hours. But if you're going around town, LA, I could go from like Magic Mountain to like somewhere else and back, and I don't have a problem. Again, the only reason I'm saying this stuff is because there's a lot of misinformation for like EVs. I'm not an EV guy. Trust me. I don't care about cars. I don't care about cars. I'm not like the last person.
Yeah, exactly. Here we have that's why I was asking. I don't understand why it's an issue for there not to be charging stations. We do have them here at different shopping centres. We do have them so that when you go to the shopping centre, should you want to, you can stick it on while you go to the cinema or something like that. But people charge their electric cars at home. So my only issue would be, for example, for me, if I wanted to drive from where I am in Queensland to my son's home in Canberra, that would be a big trip, and it would take me longer probably than it would if I were to
miles?
Oh God, 1,300 kilometres, I think it is. So I don't know what that is in miles. A long way. So, but it just means that I would just have to either stop overnight somewhere, maybe. It depends how long. See, I don't even know how long they take to charge to full capacity to get another 500 mile. But I don't know. If I had one, it wouldn't matter.
1,800. It says 800 miles.
Yeah,
700 miles.
So
I mean, look, there's going to be people that like they want their gas cars, and that's fine. I hate gas stations. I haven't seen one in 2 years. But knock yourself out.
You meet the best people there, though.
Yeah. There's $7 a gallon gas. Knock yourself out. If you're rich, go for it, man.
Well, that's a California thing. Once you get outside of that, that's
again,
way low.
That's another thing. I think in Kansas, maybe the gas price is way cheaper, right?
Oh yeah, you're looking at $3 ish.
$3. That's great stuff.
Yeah. See, even Virginia City, Nevada has a Tesla charger. But my point is, it shouldn't really matter where you live if you own a Tesla.
Even if I want a car that goes 10 miles and you have to charge it, that's my prerogative. You don't get to put
exactly.
It. Even if it's a car that I push, we have the right to do that. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. So
Fred Flintstone car, that's your prerogative.
My thing is, this is just Nerd Report's Lewis's opinion. Stop worrying about what people drive. Get a life, get a girlfriend, get a boyfriend, whatever it takes. Do something else with your life. If you're passing around memes on Facebook about how bad Teslas or cars are, or criticizing what people drive, your life is not doing very well. I'm telling you as a friend. You know what I mean? As a friend, because I don't care what anyone drives. I don't care what anyone in this chat drives. I really don't. I just hope you're safe doing it and you get there and you're happy. But when you're obsessed about because there is like an obsession about what people drive, and it's very weird to me.
And it is your choice, too.
And that's just what Lewis has been saying. It's absolutely
you're being defensive of it. With all due respect, Julie, you're being defensive about it because I don't live in Kansas. Well, Toto lives in Kansas. Toto, the dog lives there and lives in Kansas. I mean,
we have interdimensional doorways going to other places. So
but
That's a whole different mode of travel.
yeah, I'm just not sure if Julie is getting what you're saying. Lewis isn't saying you have to drive a Tesla.
No, I'm not.
Lewis is saying he does, and Lewis is not saying you can't drive a gas car. Lewis is actually saying it's up to the individual what they drive. And
but people are gonna hear what they want to hear, and there's people saying, "Yeah, you should drive whatever you want." Well, I said that.
That's what he said.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I said.
It's really down to the point where, like, if you live in a community where you can drive less than 100 miles to go do your daily thing every day, all year long, then electric vehicle will be your best choice. If you're going cross country and going to different places and maybe out of the way places, well, you're probably going to have to stick with gasoline powered vehicle.
Julie, I apologize if you felt attacked, but you were the one saying I don't live in Kansas, so I felt attacked.
It's not necessarily a bad choice. Living in Kansas, I can say that. So,
yeah, I love Kansas. Superman's from there, Metropolis.
That's right, Smallville.
That's right. Yeah. I don't think I could live in Kansas. I'd be too scared that I'd get blown away by a tornado.
We have had a few of those. So.
And that's why you need a Tesla, because they're heavy cars. Just kidding. The battery's very heavy. But that's what I'm saying. I don't want people to be forced to drive anything. I believe
no. And that was the thing. That was interesting. I'm not trying to be political, but I'm just mentioning a thing. That the current American government is wanting you to drive whatever you want to drive. In fact, the current government is encouraging you to continue to buy American-made cars and understands that not everyone can afford a Tesla, right? Whereas the previous government was pushing for people to get rid of gas-powered cars. So it's really strange. Really strange.
When people should have a choice, you know what I mean? And like I said, like electrical cars, they're not 100% there yet. Like they're not. No. There's a so there's a long way to go. You know what I mean? They're not for everybody, but I thought it wouldn't be for me, and I love it. I personally love it. The memes out there, they're ridiculous when I see them. Once again, the Tesla car derangement syndrome is insane. And I'm just going to say the truth. The truth is they're kind of good cars. They're pretty badass.
Well, I had
very good.
I think Lewis saw I put up on my Facebook a picture of the one. It's called Tesla X or something, because I was looking at what could I afford. Well, actually, I can't afford one at the minute. But if I got a job,
if I get a job, YouTube channel will blow up.
Yeah, but it had the doors open up like a DeLorean kind of thing. And I went, I want one of those. But I want one. And then I looked at the inside of it. Oh my God, they just look so.
Like a spaceship.
Yeah, it's like a little spaceship. And I thought, but then I'd probably have to take it along to someone who could paint it for me, or just put in a special order. Can I please have it sort of like off burgundy pink color?
They have their cars are usually just that whatever color they have available, but you could get a wrap, and some of those wraps look pretty dope. And the price for those cars are going down.
Yeah.
So like they are, because more people bought them. So the more people that buy them, I guess they find cheaper ways of doing it. And hopefully, and maybe some other brand will come out, or maybe it's not for you, but you research it.
Yeah, could be. And I'm sure all good vampires drive a Tesla.
Who?
Right.
But all good vampires
very tinted windows that they can sit inside during the day as it just goes along. Right. Yeah, that'd be great.
If they want to put their coffin in the back of the Tesla, it drives them to their next destination while they sleep.
Yeah, I'm not trusting that. They say it's look. Here's the bottom line about vampires, though. Okay. I like threatening vampires. I don't like models like very pretty vampire model GQ. I don't like those kind of vampires. I just don't. But again, you all brought up, vampires have always been romantic, kind of
Right.
like a love story. But I just don't. That's not what I get attracted to.
I feel like the upfront image of a vampire would be that, that romanticized, oh, I can be with this person forever and will never
Yeah.
change. And it'll be fantastic. But there is the whole killing somebody by ripping their throat out and drinking their blood part that you're not
to make
including.
that happen.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
and people
I
need
love
to
that
realize
that twist in Lost Boys where the vampire that the mom was dating. It was the head vampire.
he was actually
Huh?
Yeah, he was actually the thing.
There's always a price to pay, no matter what you do. Yeah.
Always a price. And people forget, you do not want to spend eternity with the same person. It would be that in itself could be a horror movie story. I woke up and realized that I too was a vampire, and now I am destined to spend the rest of eternity with this person that I really only wanted to have a good time with for one night. Oh dear. Actually, Lewis, you've never been to Virginia City in Nevada, have you?
No.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
In Nevada?
In Nevada, the one just out of Reno.
No, I haven't been. I've been to Nevada. I don't think I've been to Reno or anything.
No. Well, you and Lisa should go there one day. One day, go there for a weekend or something. It's a cute little place. I love it. Everybody knows I love Virginia City. But they have great food. There's a Mexican restaurant there. There's, I think, isn't there an Italian as well? They spent Italian food now, one of the places, or maybe actually, Taylor, you'll tell me, you eat out all the time. And then there's there's just all these little restaurants there. It's a tourist town, but I thought Lisa might like it because she can visit some of the haunted locations.
Well, she's doing more. She's getting more into the movie stuff as well because the paranormal stuff is kind of weird too. And everything. And there's a good question here by Gito S.
Where is it? It's the vampire. That one?
Yeah, What We Do in the Shadows is a TV show, right? And it was a movie, and it's by it's the guy from New Zealand.
Yep. He's been in a lot of things.
Very funny.
Yeah.
Oh, what's it on? Is it on Netflix or something?
I didn't get a chance to watch it, but a lot of people love it.
Oh, I might check that out tonight. I might, because it's only it's only morning time here still in Australia. But I just think it's funny how some things. I don't know if it's a thing as you get older, because I'm older than both of you two boys. All right, I think as you get older, your opinions on, and depends what kind of life experiences you have, I suppose, but your opinions on spending eternity of that romantic type of thing really does change. And you kind of realize at some point, no, I'm happy to go off on my own too. But then again, I look at people that I've cared for as a nurse that have been married and they're in their 90s and they still hold hands and canoodle and smooch, and you think, but I think that's rare. I think those very rare love stories so if they wanted to become immortal, become a vampire or something, you'd want to do it at a young age too, because when you become a vampire, wouldn't it set with how old you are when you become one? So if you're in your 80s and you get bitten by a vampire and become a vampire, you're going to still be 80 forever.
Yeah, that was wrong with the interview with the vampire. That little girl was pissed off because she was into a vampire at 8.
Yeah, that movie Interview with a Vampire, I read the book before it was a movie. I read the book, and when I got to the scene in the book where, because it was very different to the movie, very different. But when you get to the scene where there's the little girl and he bites her, I found that really disturbing on a not so nice man, little child.
Oh, was that? It was like a AH, like it was.
I kind of thought, I don't know what Anne Rice was thinking when she wrote that bit, but as a parent, and I had boys, so when I was reading that book, I had little boys, and I was reading it, and I'm like, ugh, I had to put the book down. I thought I didn't like that, because it was, the way it was written was sexualized. It wasn't written like he was so hungry that he bit her and it was a thing. It was icky.
Maybe that was the point.
I think that was the point. And then later, though, I picked up the book. I thought, okay, I'll skip past that part. And I must admit, once I got that, and I read her, I think there was quite a few books. I read them all, really well written books that when you read them, you do float off into a different, like you can. There's not often you can read a book and it really takes you away and you turn the page every time. But she did, apart from that bit, the rest of the stories were really good. But yeah, Jessica? Hello, Jessica.
I know that Stephen King has a weird ending to it as well, where they all with the underage, they have an underage thing party.
Yeah. See, it's just I kind of, it just to me is disturbing, and it was disturbing, and it still is disturbing. But if you, and so then you can read the rest of her books and that part, put that over there. But maybe if she had been like 17,
well,
I could have felt it a bit better.
Even if you talk about Twilight, the main vampire is like 100 million years old and she's 17.
Yeah, I know. Even though he's like, it's the thing. It's kind of like, where do you draw the line in the sand to stay morally correct, like with the vampire thing? But yeah, I could think of nothing worse.
Vampires are like demons, right? So like maybe they're not really supposed to be, they're supposed to be doing these evil things. Remember Johnny Depp's Dark Shadows? I like that movie. No one liked it.
I didn't mind it. It was weird. I didn't mind it. Yeah, but I like Johnny Depp, and he never does anything really normal. I'm trying to think. The normalest thing I ever saw him in was 21 Jump Street. He was very good in The Grape. With Leonardo DiCaprio, where Leonardo plays the intellectually disabled boy. What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
Oh, okay.
That was different. That was different. But I like John. You know what movie Johnny Depp was in that was scary to me? The one where he's playing a writer. And it's Johnny Depp.
Is it the one? It's not From Hell.
Something. No, From Hell was good. That was the Jack the Ripper one. No, it's something Window. Window was in the title, and he lived. That if no one's seen it, can't remember what it was called. Something Window. Rear Window. No, that was another movie. Anyway, it's got Window in the title. Johnny Depp's in it, and he plays a writer, and I think he's got writer's block or something. But at the end, big twist.
It's called Window. That's it. Secret Window.
The Secret Window, is that what it's called? Maybe it's just called Window.
Yeah, Secret Window.
Secret Window. Oh, if you want to watch a movie and then you watch it and go, what? Watch that one.
I like movies, man.
Yeah, he's been in tons of movies. I just think with all of his money, Johnny Depp, with all of his money, Johnny Depp was a good-looking young man and a good-looking man, but he's just getting, maybe it's all the trauma that he had to go through with that nut job. Maybe it's all of that, but he's just looking so old now. But he's got money. Go get a facelift, Johnny. Fucking go. No one's going to.
They have this new technique where they laser your skin on your face and you look younger.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I'll get that done. Where's that done?
They'll need to move the Death Star into a lower orbit to work 1B, I think.
I mean, you still feel like shit if you're old, like super old. So I'd rather be healthy and look like garbage.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I still like Johnny Depp. But
then again, I'm a guy. Guys are supposed to be ugly, right? I'm just kidding.
Who was Paul? What? I never watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I watched the movie Buffy the Vampire.
Oh yeah,
With,
wasn't yeah.
was he? Who did he play in that?
I guess.
Oh well, no, I didn't. Was he a vampire or a vampire killer?
Well, the thing is, that show was weird. That was weird to me because it was Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie, and then the show. And were they related? Like the show, was it to each other? I don't know.
I don't know. What kind? Do you know what kind of movies they're having there, Taylor? Taylor's just saying for you and Lisa that the Comstock are having a film festival at the Fourth Ward School. What movies? Really old ones? I don't know. Everywhere in Virginia City is haunted, Lewis. Everywhere.
There is a movie called Sinner that's about to be released. I heard that's vampires.
Ooh.
Sinner?
Sinners, yeah. It's directed by Ryan Coogler.
Yeah.
So that's a vampire. I heard it's a vampire movie.
Oh. Ooh. It looks like. Hang on. I'll just bring up some images. Oh, excuse me. I'm just looking at the faces of a couple of. Hang on. There's a picture. And there's a picture. Why can't I see? Oh, go away. Why is it when you try and bring something? Lewis has this problem too, I'm pretty sure. When you try and bring something up to show somebody and you click on it and it goes to somewhere completely. Oh, yeah. Hang on. Ooh.
Oh, because
there is a trailer for it. Hang on. I wonder. Hang on. If I mute a trailer, it has to be muted.
Don't show it.
Can I show it?
Pause it. It's just just show the IMDb and don't show the trailer. See if it's yeah. And IMDb also has a trailer on there. Warner Brothers doesn't really get upset that much, but you never know. I wouldn't.
You don't know. Where are we?
There you go.
I'll play it, but I'll pause it.
So mute it first.
Mute it. Yeah. Mute it's enough.
And then pause it. Yeah.
Oh, it's a time period.
They could track images.
Oh, can they? So they can go to images as well. So it looks like it's set in, I want to guess, late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah.
Judging by the cars. All right. Who are those actors? Oh, hang on. So it is a Warner Brothers. Clarksdale. Yeah, what do we reckon? 20s, late 20s, mid 20s, 25, 1925. I want to hazard a guess.
You ready for this?
What?
Trying to leave their troubled lives behind, twin brothers return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is awaiting them when they come back.
Oh, no.
Anything but the greater evil, dude.
Who's this actor, Lewis? Because he's very good looking, and I know his face.
Jordan, maybe?
Hang on.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan was.
Michael B. Jordan. Yeah, Michael B. Jordan's a very, very
that
nice. That
means you're going to have a twist. Yeah, that's one of his signature things. You're going to have a twist somewhere in there.
Hang on, I'll go forward a bit. Oh, here we go. What's happening here? Oh, there's a building. Oh, geez, there's a lot of good actors in this. Could be all right. I just spotted someone from back in the day. I'm just going to, what's got in? I'm just having a look. Here we go. Oh, yep. Vampires, guys. Yeah. Vampires.
Oh.
Look at those guns. And I'm talking
Tommy gun in the face. Yeah, you're going to have a bad day.
Hang on, I'll go back. I'm just trying to think of what his name is. This actor, he's been around for a long time, and I can't think of his name.
Saul Williams?
Could be. I don't know. He's been around for a long time, but it looks good. I like time period pieces, and I like these actors. And it's just nice to see some other actors instead of the usual picks that like Ryan Gosling or something. Oh, that looks hurt, like it might hurt.
I could do those.
What? I'm just seeing. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I don't recognise any of the other names. Looks all right. Yeah, him. He's been around for such a long time, that guy. But I haven't seen him in anything for a long time either. April 18th. Oh, not long to go. All right, I'll get rid of
That
it.
was a nice little solid film.
Yeah, that looks all right. Yeah. Oh, okay. Taylor says they'll be announcing the lineup soon. There's also workshops, lectures, and a panel discussion. Ooh, hi,
Nice.
Stormy.
Thank you for that heads up.
Oh, there you go. Excellent. Yeah. See, we talk about vampires, we talk about cars, we talk about all sorts. That's the thing. I think Lewis is the same with his channel. Someone I was watching, I watch Lewis as much as I can when I'm not, in the garden or something. But Lewis was saying the other day, someone was asking him, what is your channel sort of all about? Well, it's about bloody everything now because it's very hard.
And that actually works against us because we have to pick a lane, and that's going to bring more people, unfortunately. Well, fortunately and unfortunately, but if you do a channel, if you talk about vampires, it's got to be vampires only. That's just the bottom line. But it's very hard to concentrate doing that. It's if you talk about movies, it's got to be one genre. You know what I mean? It can't be movies. That's successful. You could do whatever you want, obviously, but that's the way the algorithm works, and it's very annoying.
Yeah.
When I was doing the Peruvian aliens, my channel was blowing up, but it was not only aliens, it was only the Peruvian aliens. It had to be them.
Very specific slice.
Specific.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, things come and go, because if you'll recall, Enzo certainly does recall, as do I, when you were covering the Peruvian aliens, at the same time that was happening, we had all this talk in Washington about, the skiffs and all this and whistleblowers. And then it just sort of blew up and then went away. Yeah. It just went away. No one was talking about it anymore. And it's kind of weird.
I don't like the whistleblowers. I like the whistleblowers.
They all stink. Right. Yeah. I agree.
But it gets boring. It's like I know somebody that saw something, that knew somebody that was like, saw a flying saucer that told me that they're hiding something in door number 7 at this bunker we've never heard of. Okay, that sounds interesting. And next time they say the same shit.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what I mean?
Like, I certainly crap a lot on Louis Elizondo myself, but there's nothing that guy has said that I haven't heard on 25-year-old. Just pick a random week of programming of Art Bell 25 years ago.
I love Art Bell, by the way.
Oh, Art Bell was the genius, and I wish he was still with us, because there's so much going on right now that I feel like he was bred for.
Yeah,
that's coming out today. That I wish he was still around, but I could certainly pick a random week of programming 25 years ago that Art Bell did. It's exactly the same thing that like Louis Elizondo and all of these other whistleblowers that aren't really blowing whistles are saying, that we've heard all of these stories before. You're not really presenting anything new that we're just like, well, I could tell you, but I've signed an NDA and I can't tell you about this thing, which is very specific to the very thing that you're asking, and I can't tell you about it.
Yeah, it's just,
well, why are you here? What are you talking to you for?
Which you know what? It is an interesting testimony, but after you've seen it 15 times, it's like, all right, am I gonna make a channel about this? And then a lot of the UFO people, they want to believe, and I do too, right? But if I'm looking at, if there's a video and it looks 100% fake, like it looks like a, hey, look, here's a UFO. It's like, no, bro, you're holding your glasses.
Oh my God, there's a UFO right there in front of you.
Yeah. And if I say, well, look, I watched the video, all due respect to, you could think what it is, but in my opinion, it looks like Lewis is holding his glasses in front of the camera. It doesn't look like a UFO at all. You are a fraud in the comments.
Yeah. It's just crazy. It's,
You know what I mean?
it's just crazy. I want to believe as well. If anything, more than anything, I want to believe in aliens. Even more than I probably want to believe in life after death, I want to believe in aliens.
Wow.
Because I don't really.
Karen, but
Well,
You
Yeah.
moved that number 1 to number 2. That's interesting. That's
it's just because if there are aliens and they do possess technology advanced from ours, then they also must have medical knowledge that's more advanced than ours is. And therefore, if we met some aliens and they were actually really quite nice, they might be able to also work out a way to fix people.
maybe.
I don't know. Like I said, there could be, life after death. There could be, there might not be. I'm still not sold on that one because I've gone, Lewis. I've been to England, America, and places here in Australia, and I've gone to all these big haunted places. Right? All these, it's so haunted. Either there's something wrong with me that ghosts or spirits go, shh, don't let her know we were existing. Or there's just no such thing as ghosts.
And it's a very interesting topic you just touched upon right now that we could probably go on for another 2 hours. I do agree.
easily, yeah.
I do agree with
We've been
you.
going for 2 hours.
It is very. We want to see something.
We want to, and I think sometimes, and we are coming up on 2 hours. I'll let everybody go in a minute, but
I'm not complaining about it because Lisa's about to be here. I could spend 17 more hours with you two. You guys are awesome. That's so.
Yeah, I love it. See, yeah, because Enzo's easy to talk to, and Lewis is really easy to talk to. I love it.
I don't know what to think of him yet. He's a little weird. I'm just kidding.
Debbie Downer, watch out.
So dope. But I know what you're saying, Karen, and it's very frustrating too, because as a content creator, I don't want, like Lisa and I, we have gone hunting for
haunts.
But we have done that and we haven't seen things. But I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I don't want to pretend I saw something like a lot of people do. I mean, I have all the equipment here. I have blood. Yeah. I could trick the hell out of everybody, but I just don't. You're going to be one, it's not in my heart. And two, you're going to be found out if you're not. Yeah. What I notice is when you're on the mic for years, if you're fake, people will notice because those fans you have from 2 years ago will be like, well, that's not what you said 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That's not what you did last year. It's still in their memory. So you got to be honest. And it's very respectful, Karen, that you did go to those haunts. And I know you do want to believe about life after death. But the only thing I will say is a couple things.
Okay.
Einstein said, or is it Einstein? I'm not even sure. Maybe Enzo.
Some smart person.
You cannot destroy energy. And life is energy. It just transforms into something else. That is awesome. That is a hint right there. Yeah. And I when I was a kid, I used to be scared of death, like real bad, and I still am. But until I went to a cemetery, and I thought to myself, if everyone goes through it, can't be bad. It's part of nature.
Like childhood.
Yeah, it's part of it. It's part of nature. And everything. So that's the only things. But yeah, you've traveled the world and you don't see things, and then you see people that report that they've seen everything and they're just full of it, and everything. I think if people are ghosts, why would they want to? Oh, I'm a ghost. Let me do this. Let me grab an energy drink and toss it across the room. I think if you are actually a spirit that no one could see, you have better things to do to grab a napkin and toss it across the room. Personally, I'd be in the girls' locker room all day. If I was invisible, no one could see me. I've been in the women's locker room, but that's just me. I'm kidding.
You pervert.
There you go.
Well, that's the thing. I think. Look, I think so far as you're correct, and yeah, pretty sure it was Einstein. A lot of scientists say that too. That the energy does not just, other than a battery running out of energy, that's a different thing. But energy in itself doesn't die. So if energy leaves one thing, it goes to another. So yeah, so when we die, we are energy, absolutely. So where does that energy go? So that's where, you know, and anyone who's familiar here with everything, you understand why I started doing this, because of my boy Stephen. And that's the thing. I want to think that if something happens to me and I'm gone, he'll be there waiting for me. Like he'll say, "Come on, Mum, next." Yeah. Come with me. And I think that's what we all want to believe. And because over time, over centuries, we're talking since the existence of humans, there's always been talk when someone passes away that they will see a relative, someone that they love comes to take them. And I've seen it myself in nursing. I've seen it. I've seen people lay there. I've seen it with my grandfather at the bottom of the bed saying, "Mum is here. She wants me to go with her." So I kind of believe that. I just don't think people going into haunted houses and doing all these things, it's not going to prove anything. All that proves is that you hear a bump and you go, "Oh, a poltergeist." Like, you know, no, I don't think so. So I think, and that's the other thing that pulled me away a little bit, maybe a bit like Lisa, pulled me away a little bit. I'm still interested in all the folklore and the historical stories and the Indian people and like American Indians, Australian Aboriginals. Crikey, even down, I mean, even everybody has stories of tales of what they believe happens when we pass away. But do I believe, you know, I don't think I believe in ghosts as in like that they're there in a place. It could happen. There could be strange things, but I don't know that if I passed away, I would, like you alluded to, Lewis, why would I want to be in a place I don't pick up something and chuck it to scare somebody? Unless that's fun for a sick person.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, even if you want to be like haunt someone or terrify them, I would grab the table and toss it across the room better. It's like move a pencil. Come on, it's amateur stuff, you know. Even if you did hate someone, you know. And by the way, you froze. Are you okay?
Yeah, I know. Sorry, it froze. Yeah, I think I'm back. Am I back? Am I normal?
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
I wouldn't say I'm normal, but I'm back. Yeah, I have. I've got Elon Musk's Starlink. That's my internet. But
is it really?
Every now and then, yeah, that's how I get my internet.
Yeah, but the real question is, does it work in Kansas? Because if it doesn't, it doesn't matter. That's a joke.
I shouldn't laugh. No. Actually, I'm sad that she took offense because she
I don't
took
think
offense.
I was being offensive, but I do apologize. I'm a guest here.
You weren't. No, you weren't. She put a statement up. When you put a statement up, you replied to her statement and touched on each thing in the statement. It wasn't having a go. It was explaining the situation. And sometimes if someone is not feeling happy or in a bad, something else is upsetting, sometimes they can take things the wrong way. And I think that's what happened here. She'll be fine. She'll bounce back.
I do feel maybe I came off wrong. I don't know. But like I do answer statements and stuff. And that being said, you could be 100% correct, and I'm 100% incorrect. I've never been to Kansas. I'm not from there. You're 100% correct. But that being said, on a happy note, I'm not. It's still Karen's show, and next time I'm not going to be here. So make sure to come back and support Karen's show.
Yeah, watch out.
You know what I mean?
But yeah.
I just think it's awesome. It's like they're still both part of technology, gas cars and electrical cars. It's awesome technology moving forward. and stuff like that, and space exploration. And I think it's cool. It's dope.
Well, is it actually, Enzo? You said you didn't have anything sciencey to talk about today, but just a question to sort of round up the show and I guess finish it off, which isn't about vampires. I think we've exhausted vampire movies for now. Did they or did they not this week, last week, send a human up for something in SpaceX, like just around the orbit? I'm sure something happened. A manned flight. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry. I'm correct now. It certainly we've had some issues the last week where we've had some astronauts that have got up and done basically a 90-degree derivative. Yeah, but where mostly we go from a west to east style of
around the
orbit
world
when we launch satellites and such like that. This past week we have done a circumpolar, where they gone from the North Pole to the South Pole type of orbit this past week. And that's very, very different. And it's actually, it doesn't seem like it would be that difficult, but it actually is, from a, the way that you launch spacecraft and such. It actually is kind of a big deal that people have gone from done a circumpolar orbit versus a equatorial orbit, which is kind of normal.
So they've basically done it differently this time. Yeah, so 4 people went up. That's cool. But they're back.
The big issue, the argument against, well, not against, but why that's kind of a big deal is there's a lot of radiation that concentrates around the north and the south pole of the the magnetic poles of the earth, so that these people are circling in that the entire time versus going equatorial, which it's complicated, for me to just explain, with my hands here.
So basically for everyone watching, it's just more dangerous than the normal way.
Yes, it's a little unusual.
If
you're going to go classic Apollo style, launching and going around the orbit of the Earth and blah 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 blah, it's a little different versus where instead of doing a 45-degree angle kind of orbit that you would imagine around the the sphere of the Earth, they're doing a 90-degree, going from pole to pole.
So basically we had 4 human beings go up in a SpaceX spacecraft, take a risk to do something new, and came back, splat, and say.
Yes, it was certainly different from that was the design, which even back in the Apollo days, there were certainly they adjusted their orbit, and that's how they shot out of Earth orbit and went to the moon, kind of a thing. One of the arguments that people have about we never went to the moon because of the Van Allen radiation belt, which is this energy layer around the Earth, because it's based on the magnetic poles of the Earth, where you would have off to the sides, concentrating around the equator, thicker areas of radiation and stuff like that, where honestly, if you just shoot off to the north part and then go to the moon, that's how you do it. Well, that's kind of what NASA actually did. This was a little different because it required, what happened this past week is basically they altered their natural, even drunk. Enzo is killing. You are correct, because I am freaking awesome. But as you are orbiting around the planet, you have to go about doing things where you would certainly have to be very different from, like, the original Apollo days, where you would, or even, current day, like almost like a 45-degree angle as you're spiraling around the Earth, as you compare the different accuracies. And
Enzo, you're losing me. You had me at the 45-degree angle. Basically, it's angles, and they went out and they've done something different, and they're back, and it was
they
done
did something different than they normally do, as opposed to the old Apollo days.
Are you Enzo? Are you trying to tell me that the Earth is not flat? Is that
it is certainly not flat.
I should because everyone loves this. Usually, Enzo, I'll show you, and then we'll finish up. Everyone can go and get some dinner, or I'll go get some lunch. But normally speaking, when Enzo's going to have a science presentation, I play this for everybody. If I could find it, where are we? This is Enzo's thing.
Who's that man in the fancy shirt? Who's the man with the cheeky smirk? Who has the answers? Who can explain? Well, it's Enzo the science guy. Enzo the science guy. Ask him how, ask him why. Enzo the science guy. He's Enzo the science guy.
I love that. That's great.
Normally we'll play that, and then Enzo comes.
Enzo, you do agree with me? Those whistleblowers are just, how many times did you hear the same story over and over again, right?
Oh,
yeah,
it's
nothing new.
And it drives me bananas.
I thought it was only me, and it's like,
oh, you are not wrong. It is the same thing that you heard, like, as I said earlier tonight, the same thing that you've heard on Art Bell 25 years ago.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't really look at other UFO content creators, and I was coming out with my own stuff, and I'm like, this sounds like the same redundant stuff over and over again. I want to see the damn UFOs internal organs already, the aliens' internal organs already. I'm done with he said, they said that somebody knew that I can't say anything. I don't care about that.
Exactly. If you're doing a he said, they said, I can't say anything, you're not a whistleblower.
No.
you're just sharing a age-old story that we've heard many times before. So I am certainly not a fan of some of the people that have come out like that. It's hard to, it's one of those things where it only clouds the whole issue, because they're not telling us the truth. They really aren't. They're telling us these vague stories that we've heard before many, many years ago from different sources. It's like, okay, so now what do we do?
Yeah. And the other thing is too, like Trump has just released finally the JFK files and all that, and the rest are going to. And he said about the alien thing, I don't know what's going to happen there, but I've even seen Elon. I think it was Joe Rogan. Joe said, "What about alien?" Even Elon said he said he can't say they're not. They can't say, but like you think about what Elon does, SpaceX, all right, billionaire. If there was some kind of technology that someone had a hand in that Elon could buy, I can tell you now he'd be using it. And Elon says he's got all of his all this stuff up, and he's never seen a thing. But he did say, doesn't mean it hasn't happened, but he hasn't seen it. And one would assume that by now Trump would have probably turned around and gone, yeah, frigate, release it.
I will say one more thing, because I do got to go because Lisa's getting here. But you got to watch it here yet, but you got to watch the interview where before Trump became president, he was on Joe Rogan's show, and Joe Rogan asked him about aliens, and then Trump starts talking about, well, there's that place that they're there, but there's also Mars, and then there's these things on Mars. And Joe Rogan just starts, well, I had a guy on my show that knew someone that talked about aliens, blah, 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 blah. And then Trump's like, yeah, but there's these things on Mars, and Joe Rogan would not shut the hell up.
That is the guy that comes. Yeah.
He sabotages the question. It's like, dude, you have the president of the United States in there, and you want
He's going to tell you about Mars.
Get on the show.
Yeah.
Did you watch that? It was
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
like,
it did. Yeah. I mean, I like Joe Rogan, but that did annoy me a little bit.
I was like, yeah, and then the Empire came and Darth Vader fought Luke Skywalker, and I'm like, what? It's real? And then Rogan's like, yeah, I had diarrhea yesterday because I ate a bad burrito. Shut the hell up, dude. I want to Ewoks.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to wait. I think this year is going to be a crazy year. I think hopefully by the end of the year, things will have settled. Crazy people will always be crazy, but hopefully they'll shrink to a little ball that we can kick away, and common sense will happen. However, at the moment, I just don't want to deal with it because there's no common sense. Well, there is. There's lots of people with common sense, but there's so many people at the moment that are just crazy. So hopefully all the truth will come out. We'll know exactly who was involved with JFK, although we already know. Nothing new there. We'll know exactly.
All that stuff, nothing burgers. All that
it's
stuff,
nothing burgers. We're never actually going to know the person who actually verbally said whatever. We all know what happened. He was murdered by his fellow politicians. That's it. That's what happened.
That being said, I gotta get going. Get going. Again, this is a 17-hour show. I love it. It needs to be longer. That's what it is.
No. But I'm going to go too. So I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming in and joining us all here today, Enzo and Lewis, and it was fun. And Enzo, it's okay if you're drunk. We love you. And and thanks, Lewis. Go say hi to Lisa for me, and I'll catch you on your next live and see what you're going to do. Everyone, go over and check out Lewis, please. Bye. All right. So bye, everybody, and. Enzo, hang around for 5, and I'll see you all and next week probably and see what I've got in between. We'll find out. But that was fun. See you guys and have a good one. Bye.